If you've been feeling stuck on your fertility journey, like nothing is changing, or like all your efforts still isn't getting you closer to your baby, I want to remind you of something today. Progress doesn't always look the way we expect it to. It's easy to measure progress by results, positive tests, follicles, embryos, blood work. But what I've learned through both my own journey and through supporting hundreds of women on their own journeys too, is that some of the most powerful forms of progress are the ones that you can't see. So today I want to help you recognize the hidden signs of growth, healing, and transformation that are unfolding within you, even in the moments when it feels like nothing is working. Welcome to your journey to fertility. This is the podcast that blends science with spirit to give you all the tools you need as you navigate your fertility journey. I'm your host, Jennifer Edmonds, and for the last 15 years, I've been helping women on their journeys to motherhood and beyond. I believe that combining the latest scientific research along with the best energetic and mindset practices will help you to avoid putting your life on hold and bring you closer to your baby. Each week, you'll learn ways to support your fertility and trust your body so that you can stop stressing that you'll never have your baby and finally walk your path to motherhood. This is the Your Journey to Fertility podcast. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me today, sharing your time and pressing play. It is always an honor to have you with me. This episode that we're doing today, I'm so excited for. It follows on beautifully from an episode that I did a few weeks ago. And that was about how to trust that you are on the right path as you're trying to conceive, really learning to lean into your intuition. But this episode, is a little more practical. And I want to show you that there are some very clear signs that you are on the right path and that you're making progress as you're moving through your fertility journey. And the things that we're going to go through, they can kind of sneak up on you. You know, you may even recognize that a lot of them are already showing up in your life, but it is always reassuring to have someone point them out to you because they can be quiet. And when they are pointed out and you recognize them, it can feel so comforting. I feel like trying to conceive, it's like this giant puzzle. You know, when you've got all the pieces out all over the floor and you're trying to piece together all your hormones and your emotions and who's your doctor and get your mindset right, get your body in the right place. And it feels like none of these pieces fit together. But every time you learn something about yourself, your body, or even every time you calm your nervous system or put a boundary in place, and when you prioritize yourself truly, I feel like you're placing another puzzle piece down. And while you might not see the full picture yet, you know and you can trust that it's all coming together. You trust all of the pieces were in the box. And over time, you realize that all of the messy, all of those really confusing parts, they were essential. They were essential for getting you to where you needed to be. So that's where I hope you leave this episode today, just knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. So before we get to those 5 really clear steps, I want to redefine what progress is. Because I think when we're talking about let's look at progress, we tend to think, well, let's look at hard data. Let's look at results and blood tests and all of these clear signs of movement forwards. And yes, these things can look like progress. Absolutely. You know, it's always wonderful to know that your hormones are in a more balanced state or whatever it might be. But I feel like we get stuck on these. And when these are all kind of coming into where they need to be, but we're not moving forward on this journey, we're still stuck in the same position, we then feel very emotionally and mentally stuck. Because as we know, everything is, fertility is anything but linear. You know, it is not this journey of like, well, 1 + 1 = 2, and then that's going to equal this. Absolutely not. I wish it was, because healing isn't linear either. And that is something that needs to be reminded to everyone who is on this journey, I think. And I've just seen too many things, like too many stories of where on paper, nothing makes sense. You know, against all of the odds, myself included, things really didn't look like they were going to happen. They didn't look like they were going to work out, but they did. And in hindsight, I can look back and I can sort of say, well, yeah, I see why that worked out, how and when it did. But at the time, it didn't make any sense. So even if your journey doesn't make sense in the moment, hopefully after listening today, you're going to recognize a few of the little signs that you are on that right path. So when you are doing everything right and you still don't have the outcome that you want yet, this doesn't mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that you're falling behind. It means that your body, your emotions, and your energy are still in the process of aligning. Progress is not just the outcome. It is every single shift, every realization, every time you show up again after you've had a hard day or a hard moment or news that was difficult. Because progress isn't something that you need to chase. It is something that is already happening beneath the surface. Remember our garden metaphor? I'm so bad with these gardening analogies. When you plant seeds, you're not going to expect the apple tree the next day. You know that over time that seed is starting to sprout. Even when you can't see it, you know that progress is happening. All right, so let's get into it. So hidden sign number 1, you're responding differently. I love this because it's a really, really comforting thing to realize. You know you are growing when your response changes, even if your circumstances haven't yet. For example, if you receive difficult news, instead of spending days spiraling, yes, sure, it's going to throw you in the moment, but you feel less thrown for less amount of time. So maybe it's something where you just need to take the afternoon, regroup, pick yourself up, and then the next day you feel lighter. Or maybe you notice that your inner critic that's always there is still loud, but instead of listening to it, instead of letting yourself get carried away by thoughts, you're able to catch it mid-sentence and you don't necessarily believe every thought that is coming up for you. And my favorite one here, you're able to say, I need a break without guilt. You are able to take a rest and step back and know that the only reason you are resting is because you deserve it. These are all huge, huge signs of nervous system regulation and emotional growth. These things are incredibly valuable to both your body and your mind. So just remember here that healing doesn't mean that you're never going to get triggered. It would be wonderful if we could get to a point on this journey where we've done enough of our healing work that when someone announces a pregnancy test or says a really unkind or hurtful comment that you're not triggered by it. And I have actually seen some people get to that point, and that is incredible. But I don't think it's realistic to expect that you will always get there 100% of the time. So it's not about never getting triggered. Instead, progress looks like you get triggered, but you recover more quickly and you trust yourself each time that you do. You know that you are able to handle it. All right, hidden sign number 2 is that you are starting to listen to your body. Maybe you are slowing down and taking rest instead of pushing through. When, you have those days where you are just exhausted and you've got 3 things in your calendar for the weekend and you're like, you know what? They're getting cancelled. I'm having a weekend where I'm going to go for a walk by the beach and then I'm going to watch movies and order takeaway. Whatever it might be, just really tapping into knowing when your body needs that physical rest leads to recharging your emotional and your mental capacity as well. So maybe you're making choices that really honor your energy, not out of fear, not out of like, well, I have to rest because I know that resting is good for my nervous system and that's going to mean I'm more likely to get pregnant this month. But no, it's recognizing that you need to rest because that is something your body deserves. Coming into that real deep connection with self-love. Maybe you start to choose foods that make you feel really good and you enjoy those occasional soul foods like, I don't know, the strawberry cheesecake or a big plate of nachos. They are good for your soul and they should absolutely not be cut out 100% of the time if they make you happy. I used to ignore every single signal that my body was giving me. Honestly, I was just terrified to lose momentum. A few months before I started my last round of IVF, I developed like the most chronic insomnia. It came out of nowhere and it was something that like I had no idea what it was like to not sleep. And it took over every part of my life. And you get to this point where you're terrified to go to sleep the next night. I'm going to be lying there for 6 hours staring at the ceiling. It is awful. But what did I do? Instead of listening to my body, I did nothing differently. I continued to get more done. I got more frustrated. I got more annoyed that my body was failing me at something else yet again. And honestly, it took a global pandemic and every fertility clinic in the world closing down to get me to slow down and listen to my body. I don't want that for you. I don't want that to have to happen again. I want you to get to a point where you recognize some of these signs and signals well before I did. So ask yourself, what signals has your body been sending to you lately? And have you been listening? How has your menstrual cycle been? Really tracking how you feel at different times of the cycle. What are the physical signs that your body has been giving you? And they're not good nor bad. Remember, they are just what they are, and they are always telling us something. Could your body's fatigue or cravings or intuition actually be guiding you towards more balance? And this is something that we're not taught to listen to at all, right? We find that we're told to override period pain with painkillers and just something to push it aside. But really know that all these things that your body is trying to tell you are a way of helping you get to a better place. And if you need help getting started, I always find people like, well, what's the next step? Like, what's the first thing I can do? If you're not sure about how to reconnect with your body, especially when it comes to each phase of the menstrual cycle and what you need, I have some free resources. So download those. I've got a copy of my free fertility yoga guide listed in the show notes. This walks you through practices for each phase of your menstrual cycle, and it's going to help you really lean into what your body needs at each phase. All right, hidden sign number 3, you're setting boundaries. This is one of the clearest but least celebrated signs of progress. But there are 2 parts to this. So the first part is what we normally think about when we set boundaries. It's like, well, I've said no to something that feels too heavy or too difficult, like going to that baby shower. Maybe you've protected your energy by saying, I won't be able to make your beautiful 1-year-old's birthday party. I just need to protect my heart a little bit. Or maybe you've been speaking up at appointments and really saying to your doctor, I need answers to this before I leave, instead of saying silent. These are all very, very important. They are hard to navigate, of course, and there's so much nuance to this, but setting these boundaries is incredibly valuable. But the thing that we also forget about is that we need to set boundaries with ourselves. And this is where we overlook it. We think, well, I've set all my boundaries. I've said no to the baby shower, so I'm good. But are you still staying up late till 2 a.m. scrolling on your phone? Are you starting your day by staring at 55 emails that have popped up the moment you've opened your eyes and you've grabbed your phone? Looking at the news headlines first thing in the morning. This is too much for your brain. This is too much for your nervous system. This is not how we need to go to sleep and to wake up in the morning. Really prioritize your own self-care. And that doesn't just look like the massages and the bubble baths, but these regulating tools that we all need to find that work for us. Getting outside, getting sunlight, going on walks, journaling, whatever it is that works for you. So be really honest with yourself. Boundaries are self-respect in action, both with others and with ourselves. They are proof that you're able to trust yourself and you're able to protect your own peace. And that is huge, huge progress. All right, hidden sign number 4. You are letting yourself feel. And this is not something that we want to do ever when we're going through something difficult. When you start bottling everything up and you start feeling again, that is massive healing. And this is going to be the good, the bad, the ugly, right? Whether it's crying or journaling or talking openly or letting yourself grieve. Emotions are energy moving through the body. When you are completely dysregulated and you get into this state of apathy where I don't care, I just don't care anymore, I don't feel anything, that is a really difficult place to be in, but it is a place of huge dysregulation, and that is not where healing can happen. So know that feeling everything can feel hard and heavy, but like I said, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of the emotions that can come up, they are a wonderful way of allowing your body to heal. Every tear, every time you release something, Every moment you allow yourself to feel, instead of forcing yourself to stay positive or to bottle it up or to hold it all together in the moment, that is your body recalibrating. That is your heart making space for what is to come next. I think that's beautiful. That feels so expansive, doesn't it? Just allowing space for what's on its way. So remember, emotions are not setbacks. This is you honoring exactly where you're at. So make time for all of them. So hidden sign number 5, the last one here, is that you are reconnecting with life again. And this is where you start finding those tiny moments of joy. Not because the journey is over or that, you've moved on or forgotten about what you want, but because you're remembering that life is still going to exist around you. You've still got your favorite people and the things that you love to do. And I don't want you to forget about those in the meantime. As I have said before, this time is going to pass anyway. And do you want each day to keep feeling heavy and impossible and that dark cloud is just constantly following you? I want you to keep those little moments of joy coming in. Let them be your life raft. So just catch yourself when you notice, are you were laughing again? You're getting lost in the moment. Maybe you're watching a funny movie, or you're really noticing the beauty in something like I saw these 2 little lorikeets, which is this really cute, colorful Australian bird, and they pair up and they mate for life. I saw 2 in my garden yesterday. They were like snuggled up together on a branch. I was like, that is so beautiful. Like, what a beautiful sign of nature in action, these little moments where you just get lost and you realize I'm present. Like, that is huge progress. When we get lost in conversations with people that we really love or in activities that we really enjoy, we get into that state of flow. Come into that as much as you can. When you find it, cling on to that as much as you can. Finding gratitude in the middle of uncertainty is really hard, but really, really powerful. And this is true healing. Honestly, this is where your nervous system is beginning to feel safe enough to expand again. So this is a short and sweet episode. I just want to recap our 5 ways to know that healing is happening. So the first one was that you are responding differently. Second is that you are listening on your journey to your body and what your body is showing you. The third is that you are setting boundaries with others and with yourself. The fourth was you are letting yourself feel all those emotions coming up. And the last one is that you are reconnecting with life again and finding beauty in these little moments. So they are all reminders and hidden, or maybe not so hidden, signs that you are making progress. Remember, you are healing in ways that your conscious mind can't always see. There is so much going on in the background. We are conscious of between 5 to 10% of what is actually going on around us. So just trust that your body and your heart and your energy, they are recalibrating, preparing, and shifting. And some days progress might look like tears. Some days progress might look like rest and doing nothing. It might look like saying no, or just simply showing up for yourself. And I think it's worth pointing out that you're doing better than you think you are. When you think you're struggling and that nothing is going right on this journey, you are moving forward even when it feels like you're not. Trust that those little roots, those seedlings are growing even when you can't see them bloom. And I promise I'll stop with the garden analogies. But they're so beautiful, aren't they? They bring us back to nature. Now, I know that surrendering into this unknown, that unknown piece on this journey can feel impossible. So next week on the podcast, I want to do a deep dive into the art of letting go and showing you what surrender actually looks like on the fertility journey, because it's something I think we are very scared to do, to jump and to know that we're going to be caught. It's so scary. So I cannot wait to have you back for next week's episode. Until then, if you have a moment to leave a quick written review of the show, I would love to hear from you. Sharing all of your thoughts and whatever they might be is honestly the best way to get this podcast out to as many people as possible. And don't forget, if you have a question for the podcast or a suggestion for a topic or a guest, you can leave me a voice note. And I've got a link in the show notes where you can click on that and send me through all of your thoughts in real time. And I listen to all of them. So thank you again for being here. I can't wait to have you back again with me next week. But until then, I am sending you all my wishes as you continue your own journey to fertility. The most common thing I hear from students who are on their fertility journey is that the stress of trying to conceive has taken over their life. Your days end up being filled with endless appointments, navigating pregnancy announcements. You're trying to eat right, take all your supplements, and it is all you think about from the moment you wake up. I designed the Element Fertility Yoga course to support your body, your mind, and your mental health in 3 important ways: to synchronize your hormones, increase circulation and blood flow, and to help regulate your nervous system. But on top of this, the greatest gift that you can give yourself throughout this journey is a sense of peace, to help you calm your mind and just make this process feel easier. Every single one of my students tell me that this is the first thing they notice after starting a yoga, meditation, and breathwork practice. But on top of this, you have the amazing benefit of actually supporting and increasing your fertility. Studies have shown that those participating in mind-body programs as they're trying to conceive have success rates 3 times greater than those who don't. The course I've designed walks you through natural conception as well as fertility treatments and IVF cycles. And the best part is you can work through it at your own pace in the comfort of your home. The practices start from just 10 minutes per day. To learn more, visit elementpilatesyoga.com or see the link in the show notes.